This video is about building a sled for flattening wood slabs, and for the project I was supposed to do last year, but I never got around to it, and things have been going slowly lately, so just getting to it now. And I started by ordering the cheapest, longest set of rails that I could find on Amazon. I got 2.2 meter rails and some extrusions and those other short rails I had left over from when I built my router table. So it's just going to be a big router sled that's, controlled, and eventually it's going to be fully automatic. So the first thing to do is go down and start cutting. These are those 2020 aluminum extrusions I'm using just to hold everything together and give me a place to clamp on. So I just went down on that Evolution saw, and that thing just gives you such nice square cuts on everything. So, it just took me a minute or two to take and get them all cut to length, and I actually cut them in half. I bought a pack of 10 and I cut 9 of them in half. And then I'm just using the holes and the linear guides to mount these extrusions across. Now these extrusions are going to have wedges on them and clamps on them for the slabs, but I'm just using some slide-in T-nuts, and I was really lucky. These rails actually came all the way across the country, and they were perfectly straight when I got them. I just couldn't believe it. I figured they'd be bent up or warped or anything. So this looks like it's going to work out without any other support underneath them. So I, just got some T-nuts there, and I'm using some M6 screws to hold it all together. And those aluminum extrusions are just a hair under 24 inches long, so that's how wide the sled is. Now, it could be any width that you want, and I'm just doing this because I bought 4-footers and cut them in half. And my biggest slab off my mill is 18 inches, so I should be able to do a 18-inch wide by about 6 inches thick slab on this. So it just takes a while to put it together, and I've been going slow lately, so things do take longer. But you can see I'm putting some extra T-nuts in there for the clamps to level and to hold down the slabs. And again, I'm just using the screws the screw holes that are in the rails. They're 150 millimeters apart. So each of these rails is actually 150 millimeters apart. And then those screws are going to hold the wedges and stuff. And they'll all be adjustable. So this is, basically the start to the frame. And then I decided I wanted to cap off the end of these extrusions, so I just tapped the M6 in there, and that way I can put a screw in the middle there, and I'm going to be making some plugs in a second. And then I had to drill the end of the rails. You can see how soft these rails are. They're really, nothing fancy or anything, and the center of them is soft. They seem to have a thin case on the outside, but they just drill and tap really easy, so not exactly sure what they are. But looks like they'll work for, what I'm using them for. They are nice and flat and straight, and there's the base assembly there. And you can see it's about 7 foot long. Then it's over to the CNC router. I decided to cut some little end caps to... actually, these are the stops I'm cutting first to stop the rails from falling off the end of the guide rails there. So I'm just making some round cutouts there, and these will just go in that M5 screw in the middle there, and just stop everything from falling apart or driving off the edge of it. So CNC router, one that I built works good, and if it was a little bit bigger, it would be good for longer slabs, but I'm limited to 4 foot in length on this, so that's why I'm building the new tool to flatten slabs. So, you do this PVC or whatever it is I got that I'm using, you do get some fuzz on it when you cut it. For some reason it seems to be a soft material, and just kind of using the vacuum because I don't want to get this stuff mixed in with my wood chips that go out in the garden and the dust collector. And these are the end caps I'm cutting now. You can see the whole batch of them to fill everything in. That's just going to take a couple minutes to cut them out, and then I did put double-sided tape down to hold them. You just got to get that fuzz off there. That wipes right off just about. And then put one screw in the middle, and actually there'll be T-nuts that these are holding in also on the sides there, so they do serve a purpose, but I just figured they'd dress it up a little too so you didn't look at the ends of that extrusion. And there's the stops on the ends and just the little caps on there, so pretty much the whole base for this this assembly is done now. Now it's time to start building the carriage for the X movement, and I don't know if you remember back, I bought a bunch of those frames that are made out of this 30-30 material. They're bigger than the other stuff that I use, so I took one of them apart and cut the pieces down to the size that I need. I'm just going through here now and drilling some holes through there to screw it together. And same thing, these tap, putting M8s in these are drilled. They got this weird square hole, so you have to be careful tapping them because of the 4-flute tap. It can slip as you're turning it, but so that's gonna be screwed together. And again, these linear rails just go on all this 30-30 with T-nuts, M6 screws and T-nuts I used, and they all slide together. So nothing really fancy. This was all easy to make, and get a couple screws in the top there, and pretty much that's the start of the carriage. And there you can see what it looks like. And it's time to pick some more lettuce for lunch today. We've been enjoying the lettuce in the grow tent, and my wife made some fresh bread too, so that's been a real great treat this winter. And now I've got to start making the other parts for my carriage. So I had a sheet of this tooling plate, 6061 tooling plate, that I'm just going to use my jigsaw and cut it down to sizes. It's too cold outside to spend too much time out there, so I just, rough cut the pieces out so I can go out and machine them, do the final machining. It'll take a lot less time. And you can see a jigsaw does cut it fairly easy, and I got that first plate there all machined and ready to go, and you can see I had a lead screw there. This was a 1 meter long lead screw that I had left over from another job, so I just cut that down, and that was some joke cutting that down. I'll show you in a second. But there's this side plate starting to get, they're roughed out there, and that's how it's all going to go together. And this is the lead screw. I marked it, I cut it down, but one thing I found out is to take and turn the ends on it, you have to take the ball nut off. Once you unscrew that ball nut off, about 80 little ball bearings fall out on the floor, and you have to find them all, and then it takes about half a day to get them all back in there in the right location, because there are 3 circuits in there, balls. So once I figured that out, got it all back together, it actually worked good. So now I'm down in my shop, starting to make some of the parts, and I just got this little old manual Bridgeport there, and just going along slowly. Still kind of not up to speed yet, and here it is. Just everything that you do, you got to deburr, and you got to take and remove, break the edges and corners and stuff. Do some modifications as I'm going along to that part I made before. Just kind of skinny it down a little bit, and so it's just a slow job. And once I got that first back plate done, I'm just going to go over and glass bead it to get it ready to be painted. So I got this big old cabinet you've seen before. Just use compressed air and glass beads, and a couple of minutes, everything's deburred pretty nice. Corners are broken and all ready to paint. So there you can see, all ready to just throw some quick spray of paint on there. And then I've got some parts that I actually messed up the first time around. I'm going back and remaking now. I needed just some these mount on the slides. And the first part I made, I had really bad COVID brain fog, and they came out totally messed up. I'll show you them in a second. It's back inside on the CNC router. I've got to make a spacer for my dust hood. I have to make an offset spacer because I have no Z-slide on this, so what happens is I have to offset the dust hood to the front so it'll clear on the back, and that's pretty much it. 100mm OD and 80mm ID there, and you can see that did a pretty good job. Came out nice. Now my spindle has arrived and the VFD has arrived also. I decided to go with the cheapest air-cooled spindle I could find on eBay, and I went with a little bit better VFD this time. And there's that adapter I made. And those are the plates I told you I made wrong the first time. They were supposed to have 8 holes in them, and I just kept messing up, putting more holes in them. And finally I gave up, went in and laid on the couch for a couple hours. But there they are, when I remade them. And I did get my spindle mount there all machined. It comes without holes, and it's not really squared up or anything, so that takes a while to get that all machined up and ready to go. And I'm working on some shafts in the back there, another set of shafts that are going to drive it down the Y direction. So there'll be some pulleys and belts going down that direction, so hopefully in the end it'll all be fully automatic. That's what it's starting to look like now. And the spindle I ordered was an air-cooled spindle. I thought about going with another 3.5 horsepower router because it's a pain to get the one out of my table. But instead I decided to go with a spindle that's like really whisper quiet compared to a router. So this one's a 3 horsepower, 2.2 kilowatt spindle. And boy, I tell you what, this air-cooled one is heavy. It must weigh about 20 pounds. I can't believe it. It's really a nice spindle. I got it for $150 on eBay. So it was half the price of a router. Well, I did have to buy a VFD, but in the end, this is the way to go, I think, because it can run all day, and it's quiet, and I can get good dust collection on it. And there's that adapter that I made. You can see it's going to go in there to offset the hood to the front. So for right now, I'm trying to hood off my CNC router just to make sure everything's going to fit. And just see if it's going to work first before I, decide to go that way fully. It looks like it will, but you can see it just fits right on there and, locks in place, and I can adjust it right down against the thing. Here's the cut off piece of the lead screw. Boy, that's got some memories with all those little balls. And for now, I'm going to have a step-in motor on it later, but for now, I'm just using the drill to run this back and forth and do my testing with. So that, that looks like it's going to work pretty good, and everything is smooth as glass. It really does work good. Bearings for being cheap linear slides, they really are nice for something like this. And there's how the dust boot is going to have a 4-inch dust hose on it. Pretty amazing how easy it is to make stuff like this. So now I'm going to fire it up for the second time. I ran some wire between the VFD and the spindle there. It's just sitting on the bench. And these are really easy to wire up. I bought them both from different manufacturers, but it's just a 3-phase motor, and you just have to set the VFD for 400 hertz. The thing is really super quiet, and right now the dust collector is a lot louder. Even the fan on the VFD is a lot louder than the spindle. And I'm just playing here. I've got that white side slab flattening bit on there, and that's extremely dull at this point in time. When I did the MDF on my spoil board on my CNC router, it just dulled a bit terribly. Whatever's in that MDF really bits, but you can see I'm taking about a 3/16 grit thing 2 inches wide, and the road that spindle motor doesn't even slow down, so it looks like it's going to work good, and really getting a perfectly smooth cut, and the dust collection seems to be getting all the dust, and it sure looks like it's going to work out nice when it's done. Glad I went with the spindle and shut down the dust collector. You can hear it gets quieter, and the rest of it is pretty much the fan on the VFD there that's facing the camera. But these spindles are quiet, and they really do run nice. You know, I didn't let this warm up. I should have let it warm up for a while, but I'm just playing with it here to test it. And what you really hear is just a bit in there where it's slowing down, just kind of, you know, touching the wood and chattering a little bit. But basically, it looks like dust collection's going to work. You know, everything seems like it's going to work. And it looks like it's going to give a really smooth cut once I get a good cutter in there. So I think it's going to work. We'll find out in a little while. So here I just show you. I got to see that VFD is just sitting there for now. But completely variable speed. The spindle, I think it says you can go down to about 12,000 RPM. And at 400 Hertz, it's about 24,000 RPM. So really nice range of RPMs on the spindle for different size cutters and stuff. And all you can hear now is the bit actually kind of hitting the wood a little bit there. But there, I'll take the bit off, and you can kind of hear how quiet the spindle is. And basically all you can hear is the noise of the fan on the VFD. So at the rate I'm going now, is going to take me a while to finish up and everything, but I just figured I'd, you know, start this video. And there's that box that I made, that 2-axis Gerbil controller that I made a while back I was going to use for a lathe, but actually that's going to be running this in the end, it looks like, and this will be fully automatic if everything goes well. And you can see I'll be able to, you know, flatten a 7-foot slab just about, and all automatic and nice and quiet with a spindle and dust collection on it, so I won't have to deal with the dust anymore. Stay tuned for part 2. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.